Hey, bitch, it's Jamie, that's me here. Welcome back to my channel. Now let's get into Married to Medicine. Now we see the ladies are sitting around the table. Of course, they're waiting on a few people like Carrie, Lisa Nicole. I believe they're also waiting on Giselle and Robin of Real Housewives of Potomac. So while they're sitting down, the ladies are trying to figure out what they're going to eat. Heavenly ends up bringing up devilish eggs or something. Anila is like, girl, what did Heavenly say? Toya said nothing, don't worry about it. And then Dr. Jackie says, girl, Anila looking at you like, I'm not your little sister. Toya said, of course, she ain't my little sister, because if she was, she would have knew better, okay? To be asking all them doggone questions, she'll just mind her business. So then Heavenly says, of course she ain't your little sister, she's your puppet, or something like that. She calls her a puppet or a muppet. And then Anila says, girl, I know you're not talking, is that what we're doing, really? And Heavenly over there just laughing. Anila said, since you want to throw around names, honey, should I call you Miss Piggy? Would you like to be called Miss Piggy, honey? I thought that was quite funny. Heavenly, she said, no, I think she told Heavenly, like, girl, don't talk to me like that. You know, let's not do that. Heavenly said, okay, all right, okay. Heavenly knows she can go toe to toe with Miss Anila, but I think she just really wasn't in the mood at all. Because when she could have gave that work to Carrie, when Carrie came in and called her man daddy, and she said, honey, he's not daddy to you, girl. Okay, it's Dr. Damon. And Carrie said, oh, okay, Dr. Damon daddy. All right. They said, Heavenly, she ain't scared of you, Carrie ain't scared of you. And then Heavenly said, I want her to be scared of me. So she kind of like laughed it off or whatever. So, you know, Heavenly is quick to get real smart with the ladies. But for some reason, while she's been on this trip, Heavenly been on some cool coasting type stuff. And I'm like, okay, I can rock with it. I'm starting to like Heavenly a little more. Y'all know I be having a love-hate with Heavenly. Some seasons I like her. Some seasons I can't stand her. I started off like, oh, Heavenly, you getting on my nerves. But now I'm starting to like Heavenly a little bit more so far this season. So, I mean, you know, I could dig it. Probably because Toya has really been getting on my motherfucking nerves, honey. So, of course, Robin and Giselle arrived. And that's when Contessa felt it would be a great opportunity for her to let Giselle know, like, girl, your husband did a wonderful job, girl. He was really preaching. He was doing his thing. Giselle said, thank you, honey, but that's not my husband. Okay, we are not officially married or engaged like Robin. And so Contessa said, but y'all are together though, right? She was like, yeah, we together, but we not, like I said, engaged or married right now. So yeah, but I appreciate what you're saying. He's still my ex-husband, but I appreciate it. Thank you, girl. So Robin goes on to talk about her and Juan and how they were together for years. They were married, then they got a divorce. And she said a few years, 7 years later, or however many years later, she said, we're back together. And I'm over here like, Robin, y'all ain't never been away from each other. What do you mean y'all back together? The only thing is he put a ring on it now. Y'all got married, got a divorce, still lived in the same house, still acted like y'all was still together, even though y'all had that awkward period where he would go out and date somebody. I don't know if you went out and did the same. And then here it is, y'all back together. I'm like, Rob, you're not gonna be playing with me. And it's, girl, you're not gonna do this, okay? Talking about we back together, girl, y'all been together, period. Lisa Nicole asked if anybody feels as though their husband is going through a midlife crisis. Contessa could not wait to speak up. She spoke up and said that she believed her husband is, you know, going through a midlife crisis. He's about to be 50 soon. And somebody said, oh, he looks so good. She was like, yeah, well, he ain't acting good. And they like, why you say that? She goes on to talk about, you know, as women, you know, when it comes down to cheating, you know, we really internalize things. And a lot of times when the men are out here cheating, it ain't even got nothing to do with us. You know what I'm saying? It's really all on them. You know, and then here go Giselle said, so he's cheating on you? Is that what you're trying to say? She was like, oh, I never know what anybody's doing, honey. I'm just over here free talking. You know, I don't know what he's doing because I don't be following up on him like that. But you know, I'm just up here, you know, free talking or whatever. I would hope that's not what he's doing, you know. But he's just not the same sweet, nice person as he always has been in the past. You know, he's been a bit aggravating lately, a lot of different mood swings, and that's when Toya decides to hop in and tells her she wants him to talk to her husband, because that sounds like some things Eugene has been going through. Then she goes on to put his medical record out there and talk about what all he was dealing with and how he had to go take these testosterone shots and stuff. And ever since then, you know, his sex drive has kind of shot up a bit and his mood swings have calmed down. And I'm like, girl, you're going to get this man whole medical? You're going to give it to all these ladies? You're going to put all his business out there to all these folks? let him release his own information, girl. But we understand, you know, where she was trying to go with it. She was trying to help out Contessa. As much as her and Contessa get into it, she still was trying to be a friend to her, I guess. So then Giselle asked Lisa about her husband and stuff. And then Lisa says, you know, we're doing good. We're getting better. Marriage is pretty good for us right now. And that's when Contessa chimes in and says, you know, a lot of people believe that cheating in a marriage is a deal breaker. And that's not it. A lot of men have, you know, been involved in cheating when it comes to their marriage, and the men and their wives have been able to work through some things. So I wish people would stop believing that that's a deal breaker. And I think that's true for you and your friends and whoever else. I think that's true for a lot of people that that isn't a deal breaker. But also there are a ton of people where it is a deal breaker as well. So everybody just not gonna stick around to hang around. Okay? So yeah, let's not. She said, I wish people would stop saying that. But it is a deal breaker for some people though. So why would they stop? Why would they need to stop saying that if that's what it is? Just because you could tolerate it and 5 other women can't, like, okay, that's your situation. You're okay with tolerating that. That's you. But that don't mean that they have to do that. So, yeah, y'all can keep saying it if y'all want to. Simone and Cecil are having a conversation about Scott and Contessa and what's going on with their marriage. You know, Simone clues Cecil in on the conversation that Contessa brought up that night. And then Cecil talks about how the two of them wore matching shirts and he thought that was so lame. So he had to tell Scott about it. So as, you know, Simone continues to talk and she's saying, that's interesting. I'm more concerned if they're portraying themselves on the outside in a certain way and then on the inside they're completely different. Like, I'm concerned about that. And Cecil said, listen, I'm done with it. I'm not gonna get in these people mess. I'm gonna let them do what they're gonna do in their marriage. I'm over here trying to keep my marriage, honey. So I don't give a fuck about what these folks over there doing. Simone was like, so you gonna put yourself in the and then take yourself out of it. He said, exactly, that's what I'm gonna do, girl. I know when to quit, honey. I know when to quit. So Contessa and Scott are in the room and she's talking to him about Lisa Nicole opening up about her husband having a midlife crisis. So she felt the need to include Scott in that and feel like Scott is having a midlife crisis because he has these different mood swings and things. And Scott is like, no, I don't think I'm going through a midlife crisis at all. You know I need to work on my patience, but I haven't really spent out any money on anything or done none of that. Like, nah, I can't say that I'm there. And she's like, well, you may be going through a midlife crisis and don't even know it. I'm with Scott. Scott ain't going through no midlife crisis, in my opinion. I feel like Contessa going through a midlife crisis. I feel like Contessa is full of SHI. And I feel like you are the reason that your husband is feeling the way that he's feeling if he's falling back from you. She tells the medical office guru that comes by to see her later on in the episode, she tells her that she noticed a shift in her husband after she went to school to Tennessee. And I'm like, of course, because did you really consult him? You wanted to take on this opportunity. You didn't try and find any location that was closer. You left him with the kids, what was it, during the week, and then on the weekends you would try to drive back to be with your family. Like, that's a lot when they got to go to school. He's a doctor. He got to be where he got to be at. I don't even know if y'all had a nanny at that time. So Scott was going through a lot of stuff as well. You know, he wanted you to pull back, but when he realized how important it was, he allowed you to go. And just seeing the sincerity on his face when he's talking to Cecil and says, I don't want my wife to resent me. Do you hear what I'm like, Contessa? In my opinion, I just feel like it's not Scott, girl. It is motherfucking you. Okay, you are the problem, girl. It's you. And I can't stand how she always brings up what's wrong with Scott, what Scott is doing. What is Contessa doing? Because you never seem to own up to anything. You sit up there and act like you don't remember shit. Like, who said that? Who did that? That's you, Contessa. That's you all day, girl. And it just really bothers me because I've never seen Scott show himself to be an inconsiderate man or anything like that. I always see Contessa get her way. So when she meets with this office guru, let me go and fast forward. She meets with the office guru. The office guru is looking through some stuff and she tells her, oh, I do my own bookkeeping. And the lady's like, you should never do this. She said, well, I'm doing it because Scott said that we have to do that because if not, we'll be spending out all this money or whatever. And he doesn't want us to spend out so much money. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with you having to do your own bookkeeping, even though this lady's saying that you shouldn't. But at the end of the day, you don't know who up here stealing your money, taking your money. So you will want to know how to do your own bookkeeping anyway and how to keep up with it. So yeah, now later on, you can have somebody probably do it part-time or however you want to do it. But you should also be aware of what's coming in as well. So I don't feel like Scott told her anything wrong. And so she asked the lady, do you think it's good for people to work together when they're married? I can't remember what her answer is. I think she said yes or no, like it depends. You know, have you worked with him before? She talked about, yeah, how they worked together previously. They worked side by side. They rode to work together. They was with each other pretty much all the time, and they worked completely fine together. She said, I did not notice the change between us until I went off to Tennessee. Yeah, because you handled that all wrong, and then you tried to guilt him and make him feel bad and everything. And it's like, you wasn't considering him or the family at all when you made this decision. Georgia, the state of Georgia, has so many amazing schools that you could have, I'm sure, gone to and got what you needed to get. I don't know what degree you went and got that you felt you had to go to Tennessee to get it, and probably could have went on a grant or got some type of scholarship or something locally, but you chose to drive your ass all the way to Tennessee. So you damn right he felt the way about it. He should have had your ass pull them kids out and homeschooled them while your ass was out of home going to school. Okay, but you know, he's a doctor as well. He's spending a lot of hours at work as well, then got to turn around and manage these kids. And I don't even know if y'all even had a nanny at this time. So I just feel like Contessa likes to put a lot of faults off on other people, but rarely do she really take a step back and just look at herself. But y'all leave y'all thoughts and comments down below on that. But I didn't like how she was trying to drill in her man's head that he's going through a midlife crisis and he may not even know that he's going through it. It's like, girl, shut the hell up. What if he ain't going through it though? But what if he really ain't? What if his issue is really just you? What if you are the midlife crisis, girl? Okay, now we see Toya dropping the kids off at school because Toya ready to get these kids off to school. She said she tired of homeschooling. That's for the birds. She said, baby, y'all got to get back in. I got to send y'all up the road, okay? I can't walk around in these stores and spend up all y'all daddy money. If y'all going to be right up here on my hip, I just can't do it. I can't do the tennis classes how I want to. I can't use this useless membership that I have at this gym if I want to. Like, I just can't do it with y'all on my hip. So y'all going to have to go ahead and go to school. That's just what it is. So she got a in the car with her. And then Toya tells her, well, girl, if y'all tripping so much off money, honey, at least you, then don't you think y'all need to get rid of Miss Gomez? She said, oh, girl, no, I need Miss Gomez, honey. I need her. She was like, but girl, you over here already, you know, dealing with other financial issues. Girl, why would you need Miss Gomez? That that makes absolutely no sense. And she was like, well, you know, I am making other money. Like, yo, we're having some financial issues, but I am making money from blogging. Toya said, girl, be for real. You're not gonna play with me today, girl. Be for real. What is blogging really bringing in? Well, all of my clothes that I put on, all of those clothes, you know, I get that stuff free, girl. That's free. That ain't nothing monetary. I can see if you getting them clothes for free and you trying to sell them somewhere on OfferUp or wherever else you could sell them and get a cute coin or open up your own boutique based on the stuff they probably give you for free. I don't know, but girl, I can't stand it. And I was so glad that Toya was keeping it a buck with her. But on the flip side, I said, who is Toya over here trying to tell somebody else how to manage their money and you still don't know how to manage your money now? What? Okay, girl. No, ma'am. I don't think she need to really take no advice from Toya, but she needs to heed what Toya is saying to her. And it's crazy because I believe I said this a few reviews ago about how her husband is frustrated with her and all of this overspending. And she finally comes out and said, at least they showed us a flashback of her sitting down with Toya and telling Toya that her husband is frustrated with her. Frustrated with all of this overspending, and you ain't helping him bring in anything. Nothing at all. And then you got the audacity to have a nanny to do what when you at home all day anyway? It makes absolutely no sense, and I kind of feel like that's her husband's fault because he set up this life for her to have and made her think that how she's living is okay. And I just disagree with that 1,000%. And let me tell y'all something, because Anila ain't bringing in no money and she's seeing the checks that she's getting from Married to Medicine, she is going to fight tooth and nail, I'm sure, to try and stay on this show, to make a coin and to keep up with the Joneses. And the Joneses happen to be the Harrises, which happens to be Toya and Eugene. But girl, good night, good luck, and goodbye. So we can see Heavenly getting ready to go ahead and eat up with the family, right? What we learned about Heavenly at this time is that when Alora was born, she ended up getting a nanny. So for me, I'm thinking, okay, you had a nanny with 3 kids, so that means you will understand Anila with Anila having a nanny, right? You will understand that instead of trying to clown this lady. But on the flip side, I had to think, well, actually, she can clown her, in my opinion, because Heavenly was a doctor and her husband was a doctor. They had a lot of SHI going on, so they couldn't be at the house like that and take care of these kids. So she needed that extra help, which was with a nanny. And she said she needed somebody to do everything but FUCK her husband. She said she got that on lock. She just needs you to help her out with the kids, get them off to school, maybe cook a little something or whatever, because she had a long day. He had a long day. But after that, girl, when my husband come home, you can get out the door. Okay, have that last meal cooked and you can go ahead and head out. We don't need you to stay here any longer than what we need you to. Okay, you can go ahead and head out. So I don't really blame Heavenly on that, because with Anila, girl, you ain't doing nothing but riding around with Toya and playing tennis at home. Girl, go get them kids. That's what you do. Go get your kids. Later on, we see how Jackie calls Heavenly, says she wants to have the girls over. She wants to show them her home since it's been newly renovated. She tells her that she's going to invite Simone since they appear to be on good terms. But then she also turns around and says that she wants to invite Quad as well. Heavenly is like, all right, girl, if that's what you want to do, okay, you know, that's on you. You can invite Quad. That's all on you. But I want to invite somebody. I want to invite Anila. I want to invite Anila so that I can get to know Anila outside of Toya. I want to get to know her on my own, because I think I may have gained the wrong perception. So we get to Jackie's house. Of course, Anila and Heavenly are riding together. That's when Heavenly asks her, has she met Quad? And then she clues her in on Quad and the differences of what's happening between their friendship, right? So Quad, you know, everybody's coming in. Then Quad gets there. Quad, of course, she has to be Quad. She got to come in all loud and let y'all know that I have arrived, girl. I was just like, Quad, just come in. Low key, girl, get them your bottles and go ahead and have a seat. Now, Jackie's home is gorgeous. Jackie did that. Whatever wing of the house she had remodeled, they did a wonderful job on their house. I love the kitchen. I love I like open kitchens in general. Like, don't nobody want to be cooking and they got company and they got a wall up and they got to keep leaving out the kitchen to entertain you and come back. Nobody likes that. We like open kitchens, right? Especially when you're entertaining people, like I said. Love the open kitchen, everything. Love the cabinets. Like, Jackie did that. It was very expensive. She did that. But Heavenly said in the confessional that she don't believe that her husband, Jackie's husband, had any say about what was going to happen with the new renovations. And she also believes that it was Jackie's money. I believe it was Jackie's money as well. I don't know what Curtis is bringing in. I'm not sure. Don't mean Curtis is broke. But I definitely believe that it was Jackie's money, especially since Jackie was the one that wanted these renovations. So they all sit down at the table because Jackie done catered in some food, and she goes on to tell Anila, you know, me and Simone had a breakdown of our friendship, you know, but over time we're working on it. We're getting back to a better place. The issue we have now is that Quad and Heavenly are not seeing eye to eye, so the whole purpose of this dinner is to bring the two ladies together. And Anila's like, well, I want to know what's going on. So Quad tried to lead off and explain her reason as to what all happened. She said she misread Heavenly's emoji or whatever. She thought that Heavenly was trying to say she stank or something like that. And I'm like, do we even have a stank emoji? Is there even a stank emoji? She says she has an Android, so when when emojis come through, they look at like there's something different, right? And she says she felt triggered or whatever. And so Heavenly started getting real fly with Quad and told Quad, like, girl, you're not gonna talk to me like that. When you talk to me, you need to be more nicer than what you're talking to. I don't know who you think you talk to. Get your mouth right. And Quad is like, I am gonna talk if you let me talk. Okay, and then Heavenly said, well, let me let you finish. Are you done? She said, no, I'll be done when I'm quiet. Of course, we know Quad is going to keep going on and on and on and on and on and on. Okay, so long story short, they ended up, you know, debating back and forth. Quad said that, you know, Heavenly hurt her feelings, saying her booty was fake, even though her booty ain't fake. And then they met at the end of the table and then they hugged. Okay, I feel like Quad full of shit. I do. I feel like she knew exactly what that emoji was. She just wasn't featuring Heavenly. I feel like she was already harboring some ill will and ill feelings towards Heavenly in the beginning. So as soon as she saw that, she just went ahead and lashed out and went off on her and told her what she wanted to tell her. I think she was very aware of what that emoji was, and she just tried to cop out by saying, I misread it, I didn't understand, and all this other stuff. Y'all know Quad can lie. That's one thing about Quad. I don't care what nobody say. Quad can definitely lie. And I wasn't featuring her at all, you know. So, I mean, she's back. I saw a tweet from Carlos saying that, oh, she's needed for the show. In my opinion, I don't think so. I feel like Quad is always needed for the show when Mariah is on the show, right? Because I really wanted to see them two try and merge together and get back friends, because I feel like nothing happened in their friendship for them to not ever come back together to be friends. in my opinion, you know, except for that crack statement when she tried to say that Mariah was out there doing crack, then Mariah probably was done with her then, you know. But all in all, you know, Quad is back. I'm sure we're going to see her for a few more episodes. And that's really all that happened on Married to Medicine. So that's all I got. Y'all leave y'all thoughts and comments down below. Let me know how you're feeling about the review. Let me know how you're feeling about the episode. I'm Jamie That's Me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram as well as Twitter at Jamie That's Me. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.